Hi and welcome to episode 15 of The Real Women of Boxing, where women with working knowledge and experience of the fight game share the latest interviews, news and reviews. My name is Jacqui-Lee Pryce and stay tuned for the EBONIE Jones interview later in the episode. Here's the latest news. After a lot of speculation, AJ ditches Sky Sports for DAZN. He has signed a long-term global partnership. After coming off 3 back-to-back losses, there was speculation about whether Derek Chisora would retire or not. But he was picked up by 258 management and is scheduled to box on the 9th of July at the O2 in the Chisora Pulev 2. Olympian O'Shea Jones made her professional debut on Saturday night and got the win by unanimous decision. Richard Riakporhe stopped Fabio Turchi in a title eliminator bout, and Christina Cruz moved to 3-0. Yacasta retained her IBF World Minimum Weight title after she got the unanimous points win over Villa Lobos. Daniel Dubois versus Trevor Bryan for the WBA regular title. Dubois was out in the States and the fight location had a very small hall feel to it, which I actually quite liked. Dubois was dominating from the jump, working well off that solid jab. He didn't seem to be forcing the big finish, but you know, he was definitely the more agile of the two. I hadn't really heard a lot about Bryan before Saturday, to be honest, but he had an unbeaten record going into this fight. His performance was a little bit lacklustre for me, although some of the work he was doing defensively was quality, avoiding getting caught flush with many shots. Well, until he got caught flush with a delicious left hook and a backhand for good measure, which left Bryan face down on the canvas. The only slight criticism I have of Dan is at times he smothers his work, and at the weigh-in, I don't know whether that was nerves or whether he was just wanted to punch the shit out of Trevor, but he has to learn not to show his opponent anything about what's going on with him mentally. Mayalin Rivas versus Karina Fernandez fought for the WBA Super Bantamweight title. Rivas is now trained by Canelo's brother, and you hear a lot of people talk about inactivity, but Rivas came off a 854-day layoff and Fernandez took the fight at 10 days' notice. In the opening minute, I knew I was going to enjoy this fight. Rivas dropped Fernandez in the first round, and after some gorgeous work on the back foot, her punch selection, her ring craft, tick all the boxes for me. She's a spiteful little so-and-so. Rivas is confident but not cocky. Another great potential fight for our Lisa Whiteside down the line. Fernandez was the aggressor, hunting on the front foot for much of the fight. But she was getting peppered with counter punches and her nose was heavily bleeding. I think it was actually broken and the ref stopped the fight after the 3rd round. I think there are some really great female fighters with some quality technical tools that may not be getting the big platforms like some of the other fighters, but definitely these are ones to watch. As the saying goes, cream always rises to the top. Much respect to Fernandez. Although she didn't contest the stoppage, it didn't feel like she'd just come for the payday. Just as the welterweight division was hotting up, with the addition of Natasha Jonas, Lauren Price has now joined the pro ranks. And interestingly, there was a comment on social media that stated, co-main event support bout. No one making their televised debut should be given that slot. Why? Why shouldn't she? She was the most successful decorated boxer on the card. What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Lauren Price took on Valgadir Gudstensdottir. Lauren Price has fast hands, is aggressive and really spiteful in the ring, so I'm sure she'll become a fan favourite. She's a very intelligent boxer. She managed to take away Valgadir's jab amongst other things, making it really difficult for Valgadir to get close to her. And as the fight went on, Lauren peppered her opponent with beautifully timed shots. Valgadir was a very durable opponent though, so it went the distance. But it was a really good first outing and win for Miss Price. Lauren mentioned before the fight that BOXER could have an all-Olympian card, and that's a really good call. Boxer have signed enough of them, and it would be a phenomenal card. Ebony Jones versus Bec Connolly over 6 rounds. I'm a bit surprised at the criticism that Ebanie's had. When you hear some of the biased comments from the commentary team towards other fighters that, let's be honest, haven't proved themselves yet, I find it a bit strange. But anyway, Ebanie dominated throughout. The big right hand was the money shot. And if I'm going to be picky though, I'd love to see her walk down her opponent, close the distance a bit more and work at mid to short range. I only say this because I know what she's capable of. But when she got that jab going, it was gorgeous. It started to be really difficult to watch Bec taking all those shots. She was stopped the last time out against Nina Hughes, and if I'm honest, she lacks the necessary skills to survive as a journeywoman. Shannon Ryan got a points win over Gemma Rueg in a 4-round contest. It was a good learning fight for Shannon. Gemma seemed a little bit intimidated and her shots lacked any real power. Shannon has potential, and it was nice to see she's been working on and improving on the basics. She was working her way in behind the jab, but with her lack of amateur experience, they can really afford to take their time. But she got the win by unanimous decision. Friday the 17th of June, Wasserman has their second card on Channel 5 featuring Chloe Watson, Josh Kelly and many more. And finally, Saturday the 18th of June, Archie Sharp and O'Hara Davis are out. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we drop new content. Stay tuned for our Ebony Jones interview, and that's coming up next.
You look well.
Yeah, thank you. I weighed in today. Just had a Nando's, so now just chilling till tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it.
The obligatory Nando's.
You can't go wrong with it really. After weighing, it's like you can have a bit healthy, and yeah, you know what you're getting with Nando's. So
it's true. Do you know what? As well, I reckon that they should do some sort of black card for fighters.
Yeah, but it's really hard to get one of them, I think, isn't it? I don't think they'd be giving me one. I'd love it though.
Not yet, but you can
maybe one day.
You can put it on your wish list.
Yeah.
You're currently 2-0. On Saturday will be your third professional fight. Last time out against Effie Kathapuli.
Yeah.
It resulted in a draw. Looking back now, how does that feel?
I'm over it now. Obviously, I wasn't very happy at the time, and I've said it on my other unit. You probably could have given her a couple of rounds, and then I wasn't happy because I wasn't happy with my performance too. But then I've took it as a positive. One, I'm lucky they didn't give me the loss, looking at the main event decision, and two, I sort of went back to the drawing board. Got a couple of people added to the team. So one, Gary Jones helped me with my S&C, and then Colin Williams, who was my old trainer when I was a young girl in Portsmouth. So we were doing stuff like different runs and really pushing me every run. So I'm a lot fitter than like last fight. So I think my engine has always been the thing that has been my good asset to me. So just sort of getting that back.
Do you think though also, I mean, we've spoken about this before, you always seem to get those ridiculously tall girls.
Yeah, but because actually that was at featherweight the last 2 fights, and then obviously my debut was made at a catchweight because Vida normally fights a couple of weights above me, so I was just sort of having a couple at feather just to sort of get back into it. I had a long time out of boxing, but yeah, super bantam is the heaviest I'll be going. I mean, they're giants. So I think Bec Connolly I'm fighting tomorrow is even taller than me, and she's super bantam weight, but
she's not.
Not that much.
I think not the last one, the one before that, she was about 6 foot. It
was ridiculous. Yeah. And I'm used to fighting tall people, but when looking back at the photos and stuff, like, she was really tall, wasn't she?
I was just like, she loves to make it hard for herself.
Yeah. Well, I didn't choose her.
Well, yeah, it's true. So, listen, you got the draw the last time, and we always know there's always going to be some so-and-sos that are going to have, something to say on social media. Are you able to now navigate that a little bit better, or is it still a bit of a drama?
No, well, so after that fight, I'd sort of made the mistake of replying to the people. And then I just sort of regret it so much, and I'll never be doing that again now, because there's no point. You should see it as a compliment if people's taking the time out of their day to say something, whether it's negative or positive, you're still on their mind. So in a way, if you look at it like that, but yeah, I think I could be getting it a lot worse. People get it a lot worse than me, so it's just what you got to put up with, I think.
I think it was Natasha Jonas that said what she likes to do is mute them.
Yeah.
She doesn't even block them.
Yeah.
She likes to mute them, so they're literally just talking to themselves.
Yeah, that is the best way. Or just delete Twitter altogether.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just deleted it. I think it's quite toxic. Twitter is. It's like that's where you're going to get the most, say, hate comments, stuff like that. But it's a shame because then Twitter is a good platform to use. But yeah, maybe I'll download it again.
I think that's a bit of a shame that you have to make that decision to take yourself off there because of the hate that comes, And
I would say I got too much of it, but I think you can maybe make the mistake of reading them. But if you haven't got the app, then you're not going to read them, are you? Like, you're not going to look, and if it's not there.
Boxer have had you out, quite a lot regularly. They haven't, there hasn't been too much time in between fights. Do you think that, Boxer now are kind of in the lead, in the driving seat with regard to signing really good quality female fighters?
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of the female fighters are looking at it, and if they've got the option between, say, Matchroom DAZN or Sky Sports and Boxer, you can't get a better platform than Sky Sports, I don't think. There's people who watch my fight who aren't even boxing people, just flicking through the channels. I'm on the undercard for this one. I've been downgraded after my draw. I'm on the YouTube. But I suppose people can watch it if they haven't got Sky, so maybe that's a plus. No, I got put on this show. Obviously, they already had their people, Boxers decided, and then I got added after that. So, yeah, that's why, maybe.
But to be fair, at least you're out. I know that everybody wants to be.
Well, that's what I mean. I've said that. If I can get out more often, I don't mind it always being. Do you know what I mean? I've only just started in my pro career. I probably don't maybe even deserve to be on the main card. I just want to be getting them fights in regularly.
Yeah. You're still putting in the work behind the scenes, and I think that's the main thing, and I think that's a really good attitude to have as well. Because here's the thing, Ebanie, cream always rises to the top. Just because, people are getting more airtime, or they look like they're getting more accolades. When it comes on top,
you can't you can only keep knocking on the door for so long. My old trainer said that to me a lot. You can only just keep when it was me getting onto GB, and everyone seemed to be getting on there first, but I was the one who was always sort of winning the stuff for boxing for England, but you can only keep knocking on the door for so long, and obviously eventually got on there, and I think it's the same situation, and you just got to concentrate on yourself, definitely.
Absolutely. I think it's harder nowadays to just concentrate on yourself because of social media, because we see what everybody else is doing. But I think it's one of those things that you just have to keep saying to yourself, you know what, let me just focus on me and where I'm going, and whatever else everybody else is doing is their business. Yeah,
definitely. Everyone's got their own different journey, and for me, mine's always thinking of this time a year ago, a year and a half ago, was I ever going to felt like I was never going to box again? So wherever I am now, that is a massive achievement.
It's a bonus. So in the quiet times though, Ebanie, because we've spoken before that it was quite difficult for you to get signed, do you feel a little bit smug now and again? Just for all those people that turned you down, do you just think...
I don't know if anyone else was interested, or maybe they're not. Yeah, maybe they don't care, because I don't think I've performed very well in my past 2 fights.
It just made me laugh because it's like, you didn't want me.
No, they didn't. Well, maybe I didn't have enough social media followers. So
hey, you know what? You're old school, so it's all good. We've spoken before about sort of making weight, and especially as an amateur, when you were fighting for GB, you were trying to fit into an Olympic weight. And at the time, you would have had to have been featherweight, wouldn't you? Yeah,
wow. So there was flyweight, and then went straight to featherweight, and I was a bantamweight. and obviously you want to be big as you can for the weight. So just sort of coming to the terms that I just couldn't do it, and they say the Olympic dream was over.
Yeah. Now we're in the pros. Like I am. Now you're in the pros. Is it easier now that you're a professional because you've got, longer periods between each fight? Is that easier now?
Yeah, I'd say it's easier, and obviously you got the day before weigh-in. You haven't got to weigh in and then get your food rushed to sort of refuel, ready to fight. That makes it a lot better. And I think as well, also you can choose what weight you can be. So I can box at super bantam, and I can box at bantam. I could just choose, which is nice.
And in terms of making the weight, because you've got the longer time obviously between, mentally does that just put you in a completely different place ahead of your fight?
Yeah, and I'm fighting at a weight that I'm comfortable at, and that's just your training. Your camps are better in yourself, not a camp trying to make weight.
Yeah,
You can focus on that, and when you're doing the technical work, you're not thinking about that in the back of your mind. So yeah, it is really nice. You enjoy it. You can fool people for that love for the sport through making weight. But yeah, I don't feel like I have to worry about that anymore.
And you were saying that you've added some people to the team, and I guess that there's been a new injection in you in terms of they're bringing new things, or maybe things that you guys have not worked on for a long time, and then all of a sudden, bits and pieces have been implemented, I guess.
Yeah, so John is my trainer, so the boxing side of things. And then obviously now just got an S&C coach who just solely works with me with that. And he's worked with other professional boxers and stuff, and really, really is good, really knows his stuff. And then Colin, who I've known for years and trained when I was a little girl, he will be the one who stood at the top of the hill and shouting, beat your time and all the track and just making sure I'm sharp and mentally right. So yeah, I've got a really good team. I mean, people I trust.
So the last time that I interviewed you, we spoke briefly about an abusive relationship that you were in, and you couldn't really say too much about it at the time because I think you were under an NDA, weren't you, with a documentary for?
Yeah, well, I was doing a documentary, but as well, I wasn't always the documentary was I was quite open about it, and I suppose I wouldn't have been as open to talk about it on say a boxing interview before. I don't know, obviously now it's the documentary come out there, and the I didn't want to be portrayed in a certain way, but it was a positive outcome of the documentary.
Absolutely. So just so people know, it was called. It was part of the We Are England, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a
series on BBC, and you basically shared, part of your story about being in an abusive relationship, and I imagine that was really, really stressful at the time because of the situation that you were in. I'm trying to be really.
It was whilst I was on GB.
Yes.
Also, and trying obviously as well come to terms with I couldn't fit into that Olympic weight anymore, and then that was going on. So then that's what made me stop boxing for a long time.
Yeah.
And then the documentary was a bit of say my comeback, and it was leading up to my debut, and yeah, it was just mad. I didn't think I'd be fighting at Wembley that a year after, probably at my lowest sort of thing. Yeah, that was what it was about.
I think I'm trying to be very, very careful about how I word this. You are a strong, athletic woman. You were part of the GB setup. And like you've just said, you were going through this abusive relationship. Was it difficult for people to believe that such a thing could be happening to you?
Yeah, maybe people didn't know or think that it was very a serious thing or stuff like that, or that it affected me. And then people don't really know much about it will say things like, you're a boxer, why can't you just do this or just do that sort of thing. But people's got to remember, as a fully grown man, whether you're a boxer or not, it's not going to be where you can just do something about it. And also, it was mainly the emotional side of it and the mental side of it. Nobody can really prove that, but that's what does the most.
Would you say that you know, somebody like that is highly charismatic on the outside.
Yeah.
So in front of people, they're super charismatic.
Yeah, well, it's a certain type of character, and they won't. Sometimes they've said the line of they'll do that to you. They're doing that to you because they love you, but they will do it to. They've done it to multiple women. These types of people, and you'll find out that it's these same types of men, and they do the same sorts of things. So whenever I shared a bit about my story, somebody would message me saying the exact same sort of patterns and behaviours and stuff like that. So there is a certain type of person, definitely.
And do you think that they seek out, you know, I don't really want to call it a target, but I guess for lack of a better word, a target.
Yeah, they like to say bring someone down. I read something before. It was like, don't think you're a weak person for sort of being in that situation. These types of people sort of target somebody who is quite a strong person, independent person, and then they like to sort of break you down. Obviously, I've learned like a bit more about it. Sort of as I got older, and like the things to look out for and that sort of thing. Whereas when it was happening, I was say from the age of 18 to around 21. So like 18 to 21, and obviously I didn't know anything about that sorts of behaviours and things that probably, if I'd looked at from the start, I would have said that is a big red flag.
Did you share, you know, your fears with your family, or did you keep that to yourself? You know, in the first instant.
I did keep quite a lot of it to myself. Yeah, definitely. I think that's why probably a lot of people was shocked. Yeah. Because you don't want to, once you tell your family something about someone, they like, that's it, and that once you tell the family, there's no sort of going back sort of thing.
Yeah. You know, often the perpetrators are very manipulative. Yeah. They are charismatic. Did you find a situation where the documentary comes out and people go, "Oh my God, Ebanie, I really didn't realise it was that bad"?
Yeah, because obviously they make sure a lot of what they do is sort of behind closed doors. They're good manipulators, and the people who do it, you probably would never be able to guess.
Yeah. I spoke to you about this briefly before and told you about how we had, shared a similar experience, because it's something that I've been through as well at a younger age, and weirdly, look at the size of me, look at the size of you. We're both fighters, and I often think that people assumed we must have asked for it. Sorry.
Yeah, I think as well, where we are, you're always going to you want to fight back and stuff, and then people will see us in a feisty way, and a lot of people say they're both as bad as each other, and there's that one line, and people will assume that because you're a boxer and you're fighting. Probably a lot of people have seen me when I'm sparring and maybe seen a sort of a nasty side to me, but that's boxing, that's different. So yeah, I think there can be that sort of misconception with being a fighter.
Yeah. Do you think in some respects though, it's actually helped a lot of women, because it's a case of, oh my God, well, if Ebanie's been through that, and Jacqui-Lee's been through that, and X, Y, and Z's been through that, and look at how strong and fit, well, you are, I'm not fit anymore. But I was when it happened.
I wasn't a couple of years ago. I started boxing again.
But you know, it try and describe what it does to you mentally as well as physically.
Yeah, well, for me, it completely knocked my confidence. I stopped boxing. Stopped boxing for a long time, and it did sort of mess me up, put me in a bad way, definitely. Sort of like, especially looking back at the time, I didn't maybe think that was the reason to why I stopped boxing and stuff. But yeah, it really does. It's a very draining thing. But yeah, so glad now that I can sort of like look back from it and learn from it. I think it's made me a better person. But yeah, it's just a real shame. Whenever I hear stories about it and stuff like that, it still makes me sort of sad, or I see something on telly and it's something like it does still sort of affect me in a way. But you just try and take the positives from it, I suppose.
100%. Do you now get the warning signs? And I don't mean necessarily in relationships, as in, but in any relationship, do you now get the warning signs? Because I know that I do.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I was really young as well. It was sort of like my first proper boyfriend. So, from when I was 18. So yeah, I didn't really know any warning signs. I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Which always, obviously, looking back, I did know, but and it was obvious signs too. But
it's not at the time, is it?
well, being on a location app, I suppose that is quite an obvious. That is an obvious sign, yeah. But it's just obviously people say if you're in that situation, why don't you just get out of it? Even if you know that, I obviously knew it wasn't right, but it's a bit harder to say. It's a bit easier to say, I mean, than to do.
I think you're absolutely right. It is one of those things that people go, well, why don't they just leave? It's a gradual thing, isn't it?
Yeah, a gradual process of being broken down, and you feel like you need them, and obviously you're isolated, so you ain't got no other. If you haven't got them, you ain't got no friends. And that's the sort of thing.
They're quite clever, though, aren't they? At this, getting you to, putting a wedge between you and your friends. Actually,
yeah, definitely. And there's like a big jealousy thing. It'd be whoever you spend time with, so you sort of gradually don't spend time with these people, and you don't even realise. And then obviously, in the end, you're just solely relying on them. Keeping
the peace. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, it's easier. Yeah, in the end, yeah. But it makes you sound so weak even for saying it. I mean, obviously, it's all done with now. It's still so to say like. Maybe a hard thing to talk about sometimes, because you can come across as weak or like, why didn't you just do this or why didn't you just do that? But I think a lot of people have been in the same situation, even let's say talking to you, and it's just the same characters that do it.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, Ebanie, I think that there's a misconception about female athletes, in particular combat athletes. I don't know that nothing touches you. Yeah. You're gonna just tussle people down to the ground. Well, that's just...
yeah. I mean, you're always gonna try, but if you're gonna win or not is different.
I know.
Story. You're always gonna fight back. That's the way I've been brought up, anyway.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's important sometimes to share our experiences and show our vulnerability. Well, that's what I've been told.
Another
anyway.
Thing as well, I was scared about the documentary coming out, and say this interview like this, because say like your friends and family end up watching this interview, it can be, I know it was a thing that happened to me, but it can be uncomfortable for them or make them feel sad, sort of things. That's always why I don't always like to, always worried about the documentary and stuff like that. But I think apart from that, there's people who say don't know me or whatever, and maybe they can I don't know, to help them in some sort of way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I thought it was great. I thought it was positive. Like I say, I've known you a long time. I think that will explain, not that you have to explain yourself.
Yeah, I've never wanted to come across as a sob story. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing.
Listen, to be fair, there's going to always be people that are going to go, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm glad she spoke about it, or he spoke about whatever. And there are always going to be people that are going, mate, why should... It is what it is, to be honest with you, Ebanie. I think you have to look at the positive. I'm imagining it's quite cathartic to get it said and out of the way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So, what do you like to do, turning completely the other way? What do you like to do ahead of fight night? I know you got a nice big room.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, getting to stay in the Hilton and stuff like
Gorgeous.
that. Like, it's just a nice hotel. And I mean, I was saying to John earlier, like, I could just lay on that bed all day and do nothing. Like, I'm just happy just to be there, like, watch telly, chill out, get all the shops round. And it's like a little holiday.
Except you've got to get it. I know that's, oh shit, I've got to fight tomorrow though.
Got to fight, like, yeah, but it's just nice, like, being in a nice hotel and stuff. And yeah, I do look forward to it.
Do you, after the fight, just order shitloads of room service at their expense.
Last time I was here, we sort of finished quite late at the venue, and then it was hard to get food from anywhere. So no, I didn't get that.
Oh,
Just wait for the next day.
yeah.
Nice breakfast. They serve champagne at breakfast.
Oh, do they?
In this hotel, they do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not a big drinker, but it's just nice.
Yeah, you need a little treat. You need a little treat. So listen, I'm going to let you go so you can enjoy the rest of your room.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Ebanie, because